Hey, hello everybody. Let's talk for a minute about one of my personal favorite subjects, the power grid. And I wanted to do this video in a format that I've done a few other videos and seems to work out pretty well, and it gets my point across here. Um, it's a what we have versus what we need scenario. Now, if you look at the current power grid, you have a power station that is miles away from your home. And the power that is generated at that station needs to undergo miles of wire, needs to travel through miles of wire to get to your house. And in order to do that, they have to pump that voltage up to lethal voltages. I've seen firsthand on another human being what those voltages can do. I know people with no arms because they had came in contact with some of it. It's vulnerable to a couple different things. One, terrorism, or maybe false flag terrorism, or economic sabotage or whatever. And what comes out of that power station is alternating current 60 cycles per second, which there's a couple books on the subject, is actually toxic to the human biofield. So what's the alternative? Well, let's say your house has its own power station. There's a myriad of different ways to set that up. Just for example, let's say your house has a Stirling engine. You throw some yard debris in a burn barrel. The power head of the Stirling engine is in the burn barrel, and it produces your home's power. And the waste heat from that process can heat your house and heat your water. Either hot water used for showers, cooking, whatever. Because that power does not have to go through miles of power lines. It's a safe voltage. In fact, it could be low voltage DC if you wanted to, or it could be alternating current at 1,000 hertz or more. Given that it's in your home or in your backyard, it's defensible. And besides that, if it was you and everybody else, there's no way terrorism could take out every single power source. The power coming out of it could be tuned to match your biofield or actually enhance your biofield. And here's the best part of all of it, and this is going to take some explanation. It's recession and economic downturn proof, the alternate model. Let's say I don't know what you do for a living, but let's say hypothetically you work in a factory like a lot of people. You could look at your last electric bill. You could break out a calculator and you could determine how many hours you had to work to pay that electric bill. Okay, now let's look at the alternate system. You gather up some lawn debris. You might have to scavenge for some, I don't know, maybe some construction waste, which there's a lot of that laying around if you live in an urban area. But if you live in a rural area, chances are you just have a lot of lawn debris, especially after a storm. Or you have dead trees laying around you could chop up. You could calculate how many hours it took you to gather up that combustible material to run your Stirling engine. And I think you're going to find out you came out ahead of the game. But the best thing about it is your power system's recession proof. You get laid off from your factory job, you can still gather the stuff up and burn it. It has no literal connection to the economy. Not a direct connection. I mean, it may affect how much construction waste you have your hands on, but how many flammable things are there? Paper, garbage, cardboard, waste, whatever. Instead of a diesel truck coming and picking that stuff up and taking it to a recycling plant, and maybe only hoping that it's getting recycled, you could just use it there on site. Now, what would screw that up? Well, the same thing that screws up everything else. Your government regulation. Somebody somewhere rationalized it as quote unquote harmful to the environment, which is basically just a rationalization to keep you buying power from the power plant. Anyway, I'm going to make that the entirety of the video. Hey, if you have any thoughts, opinions, whatever, please do let me know. And I want to thank you very much for watching the video.